Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this live roundtable themed the solar revolution, back contact technology and innovations for sustainable future, organized by the Energy World and LONGi, a leading solar technology company. I'm Saurav Kumar, a consulting editor with the Economic Times, and I will moderate today's session. So, the recently concluded Baku climate change conference, while much hype, turned out to be sort of a damn squib, as not much was committed in terms of the climate fund. However, one interesting outcome for me, at least, was that now the commitment to the climate fund is not limited to public funding. It is open to private commitments as well. While we may debate it, why I cite it here is to emphasize the point that while governments may put in place the frameworks, it's the private sector or individuals or us who need to work towards climate change, and this is where solar energy plays a vital role. The part of the world we live in is blessed to have an abundance of this natural renewable resource, and it is up to us how efficiently we harness this resource. And to talk about this, we have with us today Vivek Srivastava, Executive Director, NHPC, uh, Arul Shanmuga Sundaram, Executive Director, Operations, Ayana Renewables, Vimal Jindal, Renewable Energy, Gentari, Shabir Badra, Vice President IT, Aprawa Energy, Atul Pachauri, Head of Asset Management, Serentica Renewables, uh, Amit Kumar Saxena, former VP and Head Technology and Innovation, Aditya Birla Renewables Limited, and founder Re60 Marketplace, Xiaowei Shui, PhD Department Director, Central R&D Institute, LONGi. Welcome, panelists. And before I start with questions, once again, I reiterate that I request all of you to make this a very easygoing knowledge exchange-based session. Raise your virtual hand in case you want to chime in anywhere, whether that question is directed towards you or not. Uh, and to our audience today, please keep posting your questions in the Q&A box you see there. We'll try to pick up as many as possible at the end. At the end of the session, we have 1 hour in total. So, having said that, thank you so much, panelists, and we'll start with the questions now. So, probably, Amit, I'll come to you first, and my question to you is, like India, we are positioning ourselves as the front runner in global sustainability efforts and the solar energy here plays a pivotal role in this transition. How can emerging innovations such as the topics that we are covering here today, which is back contact, Topcon, heterojunction technology, influence India's ambitions, and what effects might these advancements have on the country's renewable energy?
All right. So as has been experienced over last decade or more since MNRE was founded, there has been a continuous evolution in the technology of solar panels. We are slowly moving. I mean, like earlier it was a slow transition to high efficiency solar panels, and now we see that every 18 months or 24 months we see a new technology coming in. Of course, as a developer, you want to deploy as high efficiency as possible and still get the best tariffs because you have to compete on tariff basis. And as an end consumer, you want the electricity to be as cheaper as possible. This is an evolving market. We will be where the world is moving, maybe with certain delay, but of course we'll be moving. That is the positive, or let's say that can be confirmed. That movement will be where the world is moving. I see as the government regulations are tightening, or let's say evolving as well. We are moving towards localization of production. These may have a larger impact on the Indian sector. The evolution or research and development is happening outside India, not largely within India, and these are happening at a faster pace now while we are looking for localization. So I see the manufacturers getting more exposed to these developments, while their investments in plant and machinery may still be pending for payback or returns, and a new technology comes in. So overall, while the technologies are evolving, we are doing in localization, we may have a lag in uh, how to say acceptance or deployment of these technologies at scale. This is what I see, and we have to take a look at how this can be countered so that we stay ahead of the curve, if not ahead, at least on the curve.
Mm. That's a very important and valid point that, that could be something of a technological dumping that might happen because we'll be behind the curve, if not at the curve. Atul, would you want to add something here?
So, very good morning to all of you. Right. So, I want to add that module itself is a more than 70% of the component of the whole ecosystem in our solar plant. And when we are moving, earlier were the days we were using only 230 watt module, 200 watt peak module, and now we are up to more than 600 watt peak modules. Right. So, advancements are really very much necessary in this whole space. And as soon as we are evolving with the newer technologies, so we'll be the or ultimate beneficiary will be the developer only. So that's a good place to evolve.
Correct. So, this all boils down to, as I see, about technology, of course, and how fast we adapt the manufacturers and all, and also the effectiveness. And that's very key for India's solar landscape. So, in terms of that, what are the financial implications of incorporating technologies such as HJT or Topcon, which may still carry a higher price tag? And how can these breakthroughs be scaled for both large utility projects and smaller uh, residential applications while maintaining affordability? Chow, would you want to go for this?
Yes. Hi everyone. So, so I'm recently thinking about, LONGi is introducing advanced high efficiency solar products into the market. So, before that, the companies and also the industry has put a lot of efforts and resources into innovative technologies, including Topcon, Heterojunction, and you make them BC structures, you have BC products. So we believe that we have passed through the innovation stage. So now we are going to introduce the products to the market. We hope to see that the products uh, are deployed by the majority customers. So between this stage and before these innovative products can be majority mainstream technology, mainstream products, there is a chasm. So this chasm means that based on the high efficiency, uh, we have to reduce its cost. So the good thing is in the past about 20 years, the PV industry has matured. That means, for one example, Topcon ramped up within like less than 3 years. 2 to 3 years is now mainstream technology. And for in comparison, PERC technology may takes about 5 years time. Topcon is so quickly ramping up and taking the market shares because based on PERC, the PV market is growing. And I mean, 2 years ago, we reached 1,000 gigawatts global installation. And this year, we reached 2,000 gigawatts global installation. So it's ramping up very quickly. And also, the industry and the supply chain is growing. And based on that, that's one very important reason why Topcon can be affordable to the market very quickly. So, based on the very mature PV industry, we believe that we can make more advanced, higher efficiency products affordable to the customers as soon as possible, maybe within 2 years' time. That's how we see this. And always high efficiency can bring many benefits for all kinds of applications. Yeah.
Raymond, would you want to add something to that?
Yeah, no, I think It's a, I believe, we should not be looking technology in isolation. When you say the cost, I always come from the developer mindset. I will always look into LCOE. So it should be compared, the levelized cost of energy over next 25, 30 years rather than looking at the upfront capex. So if I look into the Topcon is definitely picking up, I believe it's becoming a mainstream product. Most of the developers in utility scale, if we look into India, they're talking about Topcon bifacial modules, which, is there. HGT definitely have some challenges. It has definitely, some challenges from technology perspective, from the manufacturing perspective, from the complexities in the process, as well as the, cost issues. And that's why, this technology is taking a bit of time. Some of the leading global companies try to, target it, but I believe, they're still not able to go to the commercial scale the way it was envisaged. I'm looking into this technology for more than a decade, and every time we see, there's something happening. But again, in HJT or SDT, now everything is bifacial. So heterojunction, this uh, uh, some manufacturers are claiming they can be as competitive as Topcon. So they're trying to enter into the market. They're trying to show that it can again meet this numbers. We need to see how that transformation happen. I will like to take a bit caution. I can see I know LONGi was one of the pioneers who always keep on talking mono when everyone was talking poly. When I used to talk, these guys like 7, 8 years ago, they were the only guy who were pushing mono. When so I think now the vision was there. Like they said, the mono is going to the mainstream. The poly has efficiency issues. The same thing which we are talking today. Again, the perk type technology and other has limitation on the efficiency. The SDT can go to the next level of efficiency, right? So it's definitely there. We need to see how the transition happen. Saw the transition of poly to mono, which was said to be happening in 2 years. It took maybe 7, 8 years, and the mono did not happen. The plain mono, which was one of the mainstream, and it directly went to perk and then again to Topcon, right? So this is the way this transition is happening. However, it is bringing some of the interesting things for the developers. One, uh, because of the efficiency, your construction time and your number of panels are getting reduced. Again, the land is one of the massive issue. People will say that India has abundance of land. We all know that it's there, but again, when you want to execute the project, there are always challenges, right? If you want to do 1,000 acres versus if you can do it in 800 acres, I'm just trying to put a number, right? If you can save 15-20% because of the efficiency, it always helps, right? And again, it cut down your construction cost, it cut down your balance of system cost, and again the degradations year on year, and again the way performance happen, that will help. The same thing goes to the residential. I think you said on the residential part also. Interestingly, one of the major factor, even I was talking this for my society also. So one of the major issue for the societies, the residential societies or residential, is the space constraint. And they definitely need to look into the high technology or high efficiency, the technologies which should help them to give maximum power in the limited space. That focus or education, I believe, still is not there. One, there are some subsidies applicable in India, and those subsidies are happening only for domestic manufacturers. If you try to bring it from outside, you cannot, use those subsidies. So people are always trying to avail those subsidies, and they are compromising somewhere with the technologies versus, looking at the overall benefit. So if they can install 25 kilowatt versus 35 kilowatt or 30 kilowatt, right? So they are going to gain for this 20 or 40% more over next 25, 30 year, right? So that is not being factored. And I think the major focus on the residential side is on the capex still. They are not looking into the full life cycle of 25, 30 years. They're not that patient. I think if they try to look into these technologies, should start making sense. And again, the kind of production and efficiency you can achieve even with the losses is going to be much better.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the cost part because I know that people are working on that. And I'm also not going to the part where, if you want more residential usage, we need to probably increase the efficiency also. I'm sure work is happening. We're at 28-30%, I guess, in terms of efficiency. We need to move ahead so that it makes more sense, even if the cost is still there, but if the efficiency goes up of the panels. And the other thing which I'm going to talk about, I think we must talk about, is you talked about policies, subsidies, and all. So, uh, Vivek, I would want to come to you. As this technological progresses accelerate in India's solar sector, what are the barriers that exist to ensure that these cutting edge innovations are seamlessly adopted across market segments, be it commercial, be it residential? What do you think are the hurdles as of now?
So, in fact, at NHPC, we are just let me put it in the perspective that the goals, the nationally determined what is a contribution, they are quite what is a clear. And Government of India is aiming to add 500 gigawatt of renewables. And we at NHPC, we are part as one of the renewable energy implementing agency. As you must be knowing, that program is going. So we are rolling out around 10 gigawatts of tenders every year. And as you everybody knows that we are following the guidelines of tariff-based competitive bidding. So the bottom line is that the tariffs, they are very important. And from all the perspective, as already Vimal said, that due to the faster deployment and the land constraints and all those things, all the modules which come in with a higher efficiency with Topcon technology or HJD technology, they are definitely going to be more efficient and more cost effective for the end consumers. So that is what we are looking at exactly. And uh, these technologies, evolving technologies, as it is said that 18-24 months new technologies are coming. Those are definitely bringing more efficiencies and lower total overall cost of the energy over the lifetime of the projects. So it's quite important for us. And these, what do you say, advents, they are quite welcome for overall development of renewables in our country.
All right, great. Arun, would you want to chime in here?
Yeah, sure. See, I think I wanted to add a few points of all the discussion so far, right? I think,
Sure.
see, this back contact technology is what it implies is that you have more all the connectors in the back, so you don't have any copper on the front, and you're getting a higher efficiency because there is no shadow effect. And typically, your efficiency can be about 1% higher. For example, if you do a plain Topcon at 23 or 24, you are going to get 1% higher with the back contact technology, right? So that's a positive development. Then and Topcon, as you know, is probably becoming the most dominant technology as we speak right now. So now when you add back contact to end Topcon, what is the implication of that, right? I think there's something I also wanted to clarify with Chavi. I also started struggling to answer this question because the bifaciality is a critical factor. So when we are starting to use bifacial modules, we are getting, depending on the albedo on the backside, you're getting almost 10% gain, energy gain, right? Yes, on the overall front side, I'm having a 1% efficiency. But when I add this back contact, what is the impact on that bifaciality factor? But whatever I've read, the bifaciality factor is reduced. And also the gain for energy, rather energy, not the efficiency, but the energy from that panel, right, could be similar or even reduced vis-a-vis a plain N-Topcon module with the normal configuration versus IBC configuration, right? So from a developer standpoint, I think ultimately it's not just the pursuit of technology, it's the pursuit of technology for a particular application, right? So when you are having energy from both sides, and what is the impact of this on a ground mounted utility scale system with a good albedo, right? Is that going to be positive or negative in terms of energy per watt peak that is being generated vis-a-vis a normal Topcon? I think that's something that needs to be answered. I think that's one question. Clearly, this technology would be beneficial for rooftops, definitely. And the other advantage of this technology is, I think, the life is much longer. So you, for example, if you say 30-year lifetime, so here I think this technology has the potential to go beyond that. The robustness and the reliability of this technology is much better. So maybe you'll get 35 years. Right? Of course, today we are not monetizing the 35 years because all our tariff biddings are based on 25 years, right? We are not looking at the 30 or 35 years, although in the financial models we incorporate that. But as far as the bidding is concerned, it's based on a 25, right? So to me, the key things that will determine the success or the adoption of this in a large scale would be in the overall energy sense. Would this have a better energy gain versus an N-Topcon, considering a good albedo site with bifaciality? Second, yes, in rooftops, there is a definite value, but as Amit pointed out, today, largely rooftops are going to be limited to domestically manufactured cells and modules, right? I think especially with the ALMM coming on cells from April 2025. Today, I think there are manufacturers who have started in Topcon, but I think then they will still need to modify their line and the process to do back contact, right? I think that's still, in my mind, a couple of years away for India to have these cells available unless a LONGi himself start a manufacturing in India for this purpose. Correct. So I think so that's where we are. I think so. So to me, this transition is not so clear where it's high efficiency, high energy, so it will happen, right? It's yes high efficiency, but it may not be necessarily high energy yield for wide scale adoption in the utility sector.
That's a dichotomy that we always want to solve, and the other one is that uh, we're not talking about 35 years, we're talking about 25 years. These mismatches are always very tricky to trade. Shabir, I would want to come to you with your views of the discussion that we had so far, and also uh, you know could there be more incentives for faster adoption, as we see that we are probably a little behind the curve, or probably for LONGi to come to India and do the production as was being emphasized by Arul here?
So hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think as a country, while there are a lot of things, there are a lot of technological advancements happening, whether it's LONGi or other things also. But at the same time, we should realize that all this technology bring those risks. So especially the people are still shying away from adopting. A lot of technological advancements, whether it is AI and IoT and all those things. A long way to go, but I think at the pace at what which our country is moving ahead, and the way the focus is on solar. In fact, the panelists also mentioned that there's a lot of focus on this thing. I think we are not that far off, because the way the disruption is happening. I understand the key elements, like with the advancement of the technologies, people are still the same. They have to ensure that they adapt those technologies faster, but there are tools available, like say for example, I use an example, like say for example, if there is an AI based tool which really helps in enhancing the energy efficiency monitoring and all these things, but at the same time brings some risk also. So there are of course AI based security monitoring also, which has to be leveraged. So it's more of the technological adoption, which the board should realize, the leadership should realize that that's an important, it's need for an hour for us to get there.
Hmm. Okay, all right, great. Uh, Chow, I would want to come to you now. We spoke about the need for more, better technology, and also in the light of, and especially India, we are very ambitious. We are very ambitious renewable energy targets. So, uh, how can collaborations, international collaborations with domestic firms and global companies, can fast track the adoption of these technologies in India's market?
So for one very basic fact is India is going to be a very important market for the PV industry. Uh, if I remember it correctly, by maybe by end of this year, India will reach 100 gigawatts installation. total installation. So this year we have already reached 2,000 gigawatts global installation. And based on one research, that to meet net zero emission, the target by around 2050, we need 7 kilowatt per capita globally. So India is a huge market for PV. Um, so the market is huge, and definitely it will kick off maybe starting from this 100 gigawatts based a milestone this year. Looking forward to the next 3 to 5 years, or maybe 10 to 20 years, uh, a lot of growth in the market. Um, so back in Australia, I have a colleague from India. So we are both PhD students. So I know that in in our school, people, students, researchers, engineers from many countries are doing the research. So we believe um, um, India has good engineers and also very good engineer resources to do the PV research. And the most important thing is that thinking about establishing PV, maybe establishing PV manufacturing in India, I can see that will happen not just in India, but also in many countries because the market is so big. So domestic PV manufacturing uh, have many advantages. mm, Actually benefits PV adoption in the coming decade. For one reason is because if we actually discussed this question just last week, so if we see that like 3,000 gigawatts PV annual production capacity in the future to meet the demand for net zero. That means we will double or triple the current manufacturing capability. So for the top companies, maybe top 1 to 5 companies, it will have around 500 gigawatts uh, per year capacity. That's huge. So the question was if the PV manufacturing capacity was the demand was is so high, would it still be like 70%, 80%, or 90% based in China manufacturing? So for one point we can see is from the point of view of logistics. So basically, we are shipping modules to globally to every market. So we are actually thinking about the weight the modules takes. We're actually shipping glasses, and beside glasses, we are shipping air. So because you can only ship fixed modules. You cannot stack the modules together. So that's one point that market is so big that it could be very essential for major countries that to establish a local PV manufacturing capability. And talking about uh, like international collaboration on PV manufacturing, R&D or manufacturing, that I think from the R&D side is already happening. I used to co-author with some uh, researchers from India for some book chapters or papers. So in the R&D field is always very active. But in China, like companies like LONGi are in the past 3 to 5 years, putting so much efforts, so much resource into silicon solar cell R&D, while pushing the limit of the silicon solar cell conversion efficiency. But there are still many jobs remaining to be completed. So for one example is cutting the cost. One and also other um, efforts like tandem technologies. We still need to develop tandem technologies, and for some of the technologies like tandem, um, thinking about the manufacturing cost is almost I don't see any very heavy cost for example manufacturing perovskite cells because the capex is very low. Um, and if you have a automatic production line, so the cost basically would be similar maybe in major countries. Yeah, but yeah. So my point is, firstly, it's very important for domestic PV manufacturing, and international collaboration will involve sometimes technology transfer and also R&D activities, and looking forward the future technologies. Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to get you a point of view from what exactly is expected when it comes to collaborations. Vimal, would you want to elaborate that, when it comes to collaborating in terms of domestic increasing domestic production, what exactly do we expect?
So again, I think there are a couple of things. I was working in one of my assignments where we were focusing on manufacturing of solar panels in India. So we're trying to evaluate. I think the collaboration can be on the multiple way, right? It can be the technology transfer. It can be, a full partnership where they will bring the expertise also, not only the technology transfer. Uh, India is targeting, a massive uh, implementation of solar. I think this year we will be 20 plus gigawatt, right? So if we want to do that, we need to have manufacturing bases in India who should be able to give the quality and the good efficiency panels. If we look into the major focus at this moment is only on the assembly of the panels. It's not there on the backward supply chain. So when I say backward supply chain, I talk in two parts. One is on the cells, wafers, and polysilicon. That is still in motion, right? So this yet to happen. And second is on the key components. When we talk about aluminum frames, glass, again. Some of the EVA, POE, everything, so those stuff also, we don't have equipped to that scale which we're trying to manufacture. I think that is going to be very critical, the way this partnership need to develop and take it forward so that we can be fully independent. I was just reading, there are some duties has been imposed on the glass also now, which is there, right? So before again we are talking about duties on some other components also. So the Indian supply chain need to be reversed, and then the manufacturing and the, I will say, the quality of the product also matters, right? So we need to look into how we can deliver the same product what we are manufacturing with the same technology in different country. So that is very critical at this moment. Uh, I believe some of us are already dealing, and we are trying to lever on the capacities with the manufacturing in India. But if I talk about, we are talking about a delivery of 20 plus gigawatt, which gives us 1.5 2 gigawatt a month. And if you go to any big major player, although everyone claims, that they have X gigawatt capacities, but when you talk that what you can give in a month, the numbers are not that high. That is one of the biggest constraint. If you go to China, you can simply say that, I want to have 500 megawatt a month, and the same guy will ship you, 200 megawatt a week, right? But here, when you say that I want, 200 megawatt a month, that makes 50 megawatt a week, right? So that also is big challenging. Also, the nameplate capacity are 5 gigawatt, 7 gigawatt, 10 gigawatt, right? So I think uh, we need to go one step deeper than just on the nameplate capacities, and then we need to understand when they say the collaboration, what level of collaboration they have, whether it's just a certification, whether it's a testing, whether it's a technology transfer, or whether it's end-to-end collaboration with the liabilities and warranties, right? So I think that is going to play a pretty critical role while we dive into this 500 gigawatt plus drive which we are targeting as a country.
Hmm, great points made. Before I go to our next speaker, I again encourage our audience, in case you have questions, do post them on the Q&A box. We'll try to pick them up at the end if we have time. I guess Atul, Amit, you wanted to make a point. So Atul, probably if you want to go first.
Yes, right. So actually, this is really important as the hunger is really very high in India, and the availability of the modules which is required to cure that hunger is really not that much. What if we are comparing that, right? So we have seen that the technology advancement is very fast from the last 10 years. If we want to see that earlier were the polycrystalline modules were available. Sometimes we have seen the thin film also was on a very high peak, then mono park, and then we are talking in this meeting about Topcon and HJT, right? So the technological advancements are very high. So the capex requirement in order to make that technology is really definitely very high. So people are making modules. Multiple organizations in India are making the modules, importing the cells from China, and now the BCD on cells is also going to come very shortly, right? So it is a really very high risk. So as we have seen in terms of inverter, now multiple companies are, although they are only assembling those inverters and naming that they are manufacturing in India. So few companies are viewed very huge, including Sungrow and Shinag. They are manufacturing in India. So in the similar way, the companies like LONGi, if they can manufacture those modules in India and cater the requirement, whatever is required in India to be manufactured here, that will be a boon to the requirement and the industry. Because as Bimal already mentioned, that if we want modules from X company, if we want 500 megawatt peak of modules in a month, they may not be able to deliver those modules within the time limits, and they will say sorry. So that will impact our project deliverables very high, and definitely nobody knows still what the quality of modules shall be delivered at site and how they will be performing in long run. So that kind of maturity is still not available, and from where we will be claiming that warranty, and because warranty is just a myth in case of modules, we know, because the volume is very high. 5 lakh 6 lakh modules are installed in one plant, and we want to claim the warranty. That is also really very challenging. If we have, let's say, 1,000 modules claimed to be under the warranty, so it is very tough from us to pack those modules to send them to the OEM, and after that also it is not very well proved that the warranty will always be honored, right? Because multiple factors there must be there for the degradation of those modules. So the collaboration between the international proving agencies like LONGi should always be there, so that the ultimate user, who is the developer, should get a very good quality module and well within the time limit.
Great. Amit, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I think very interesting points raised by both Vimal and Atul. See, the tone is very clear from the government's end that they are going in for localization. We have to be self-reliant when it comes to renewable energy value chain. They're pushing for it. You had the glass subsidies coming in recently last quarter. Then you had the module ALMM, then the DCR part, and now the cell ALM. Our path forward has to be inclusive, is what I think. We are low on R&D. We have not produced domestically any new cell technology, although we've been more than a decade in this industry. And I connect with what one of the panelists said, that when you're visiting factories, there's a certain nameplate capacity. You have X numbers of lines. Unfortunately, for different reasons, you're getting 40% of that. And then you are stuck in the project because you've got land, which was another problem, and you've scraped through the tunnel and you've got the land, you've got the EPC contractor waiting, idling, but you can't provide modules. And then Atul's part, you have the modules, but now you need to go to warranties, right? How do we do this? The problem on manufacturer's end is that he has invested a certain capital. In contrast to China or other countries where the cost of capital is low, let's say the lending rates are pretty low. In India, the lending rates are high, and they're even higher for the business industries. So some kind of restructuring needs to happen. There has to be certain investment or certain development of R&D facilities within India. We can't move forward without localization. No foreign player would be able to. You have to localize through developing within this country. You have to become part, invest in R&D, be empathetic with those who are putting in money. We are the third largest RE deployer in the world. Technology transition must have a certain timelines. And another part I would like to add, you go to the top manufacturers in the country, you'd see the cells being put into the machine manually. And we're talking about 140 micron cells. They can break by just a finger pinch. We need to accelerate the manufacturing facilities as well. We need to accelerate or improve the transportation, the warranties part, and can only happen in an inclusive way because government has set the tone. That would be my points.
Great, great points made. Anyone else, Shabir, Vivek, would you want to add to this? Because this is very interesting in terms of how we are going to progress on this adoption and production of these technologies domestically. Vivek, especially to you. Yeah, please. Arun, you
Sorry.
wanted to. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
that's see a couple of things. Obviously, I was involved in a lot of discussions for technology transfer also with them in my previous roles, right? See, the challenge for India today, for example, see, one of the things is that, like Amit mentioned, right, there is a need for the investments to be returned quickly, correct? And whenever, in fact, in my past roles, whenever we made an investment, we were always looking for a 2 to 3 year return time frame, right? Do we have the market? Do we have the pricing power to get those returns in 2 or 3 years, right? Now, if you take the current market pricing of China-based modules versus India-based modules and Indian cell-based modules, like there's a huge gap. I think the China-based modules are at sub 10 cents, right? The India-based modules with imported cells are at 17, and the modules with the cells made in India is 28. So today, the environment is there for the investors in manufacturing to recover the investments at a quite fast pace in the 2 to 3 year time frame. And to that degree, I think the earlier investors would certainly benefit from this recovery. Obviously, as more capacity comes, the pricing power goes down. So I think to that extent, I think that potential is there for the recovery of the investments, right? In terms of technologies today, RIL is the one probably doing the most ahead. I think Topcon is something most manufacturers are adopting, but I think RIL is doing something in HJT. So I think certainly they have a goal to have a differentiated technology. And there, I think, see, for India to be leading, it will be very difficult for India to lead in the solar with R&D in the existing technologies, because the amount of effort and knowledge base that's there is difficult. But I think when there is a transition, for example, if there is a transition to a tandem cell, whether it's a perovskite based tandem where you're almost on a reasonably level playing field, there is an opportunity to innovate in R&D also. I think that's something we'll see. Maybe I see RIL as probably a potential leader in terms of developing an in-house, in-country R&D, which is unique and probably can be scaled into production.
Yes, Arul has rightly pointed out on that aspect, because see, we also, wherever the subsidies are there and we have to use DCR modules, we are struggling with the supplies. We are unable to complete our projects in time. Those are getting delayed. On one part, second part is regarding the cost factor. That also has, he said that the price differential is quite huge. So if we want to, what do you say, scale up the solar power generation to bring our projects in time, definitely these technologies have to be adopted and imbibed, and those have to be scaled up sufficiently so that the price disparity is reduced. See, because this overall the procurement of energy by the discoms, ultimate consumers, that is very price sensitive. So we have to aim at that, the cost reduction and what is a quick execution of the projects, all those things, they are quite important to what is a have the what is a to drive towards achieving our renewable energy goals and the what do you say the commitment toward the climate change mitigation and all those things. So it's quite important. That is what we see that because we have been doing lot many bids we are bringing out, and we see that how developers are struggling with land. Definitely, if we have cells with higher technology, they will land has become a very scarce resource. So we get modules of higher efficiency, then land requirement is reduced, faster rollout is there, and if the quality is good, then definitely the projects will be sustainable in the long run. So we can have the project longevity will be ensured, and the plants will be delivering the what is a guaranteed power for over the lifetime. So LCOE, that all those things, these are quite important. And with these new technologies coming in, we have to definitely move towards adopting these things. So like you said, that ALMM is there, and those manufacturers also, they have their own issues relating to adoption of these technologies, but those have to be sorted out at the government level so that this transition is smoother. That is what my viewpoint is.
Okay. All right. Shami, would you want to add something before I go to Chow and give him all the questions that have been posed here by uh, in terms of price differential, in terms of transfer of technology. Where do global leaders stand here in terms of these aspects?
No, I think the only thing which I have to, I think the other panelists have covered that, and especially Arul, we mentioned where we have to become more self-reliant, and India as a country is moving towards that one, right? I think the thoughts which are coming to my mind, and of course RL is working very aggressively towards that one. So it's just to wait and see how do we progress towards that. I think quite a few points are covered. But at the same time, the only thing which I like to add is, as we focus more on the research and development on this technological enhancement, it's important for us as a country to ensure that we work more collaboratively, where the engineering landscape, the operational landscape, the strategic landscape, and all those work together to bring that value to the country, as we grow.
Okay. All right. Chow, I would come to you. If you said that India is a big market for the entire world is looking at India as the biggest market, and of course you two are. Uh, what I want to understand from you is that you heard the panelists here and you understood the way forward that India is looking at. So how do leaders like the LONGi fit into this, wherein we are looking at being self-reliant, being quick to respond to the requirements, transfer of technology. How do you see that?
I believe if India has serious planning to scale up its PV manufacturing in the first maybe first stage, because there are uh, industry leaders, leading companies like LONGi, um, um, that has already established technologies and also manufacturing capabilities. In this stage, technology transfer is a I think is a first option. So we have to do this if we plan to do localized manufacturing. So from Longi's side, that is one, I think is one very good opportunity for Longi to expand its collaboration with our not just not just the collaborators, not just the investors, but also going going closer to our customers. So once we collaborate, say we collaborate to establish one joint manufacturing site in India. So we have to send engineers to do the training or technology transfer process. And also, by doing that, sending people into the India, into the manufacturing site, into the market, we actually can, know more about our customers, and we can find out uh, maybe the values that we didn't um, we didn't find out before. So and also technology transfer. I used to do technology transfer like about 10 years ago. At that time, thin film solar PV was one option besides silicon PV like CIGS technologies. And around 2010 to 2015, 2017, 2018, about 5 to 6 years time. So there are uh, one wave of thin film technology transfer from USA, from Europe to China. So we went through that technology transfer process of the thin film technologies. But thin film to this date is not as competitive as silicon PV. So I'm kind of familiar with like a new product, like we call it NPI process, new product introduction process. So it involves at least three main aspects if we are talking about technology transfer. So first, the equipment. So uh, maybe India local manufacturers has to source PV manufacturing the equipment um, from suppliers like in China or in other countries. And meanwhile, India definitely can establish its localized equipment manufacturing capability. And besides equipment, there are like you can choose different equipments by yourself, or you can ask like companies like LONGi to simply provide a whole production line, starting from the factory, then establish one production line, and then do the process transfer. So the second aspect is about the process transfer. So process transfer that different companies like LONGi has developed some silicon technologies that we have claimed several world records because we have this R&D capability to do that. So the technology should be different from other technologies from solutions from other companies. So that there will be some difference in terms of a process transfer. So third one is about the staff. So you have to have your staff engineers. So basically, there will be one training period. So I can foresee that the local company is sending engineers to maybe to LONGi in Xi'an in China for 3 months or 6 months training, and then get back to India to start the line. And also, LONGi will send off the engineers to India. So, I mean that in the PV manufacturing, there used to be very many cases for technology transfer, like in the early years in this century, from like Germany, from Europe to China. We used to have many European, especially German engineers training us. We went through that period. Yeah, so very simply that will happen in the first stage. So I, I very much agree with our discussion that we India has to, aiming high, looking forward, aiming high, that we have to have the second stage to establish R&D capability. That's very important. And based on one R&D stability capability, you have a better understanding of the product quality and the process quality. As because there will be um, uh, some um, um, some work to do with the customers. Sometimes we call it like market education, or you have to explain to your customers why your products is reliable. So something like that. And the third state maybe India can, based on this established manufacturing and R&D, that some new technology, leading technologies like perovskite silicon tandem, or even some other new material based on silicon tandems coming out from the R&D labs in India, that's very possible.
Great.
Yeah.
I absolutely love your point, which you made is the process transfer rather than just looking at the tech transfer, because that would probably make it more robust when it comes to, developing the entire ecosystem, manufacturing and the technology, be it whatever we are using now, or probably new ones that could spring up from these Indian company. Great. So we have a couple of minutes to go. Shabir, I'll come to you with my final question. This is my a little segue from what we are speaking, but it's very important because this has become the buzzword in any sector we go to, which is, with AI and IoT, getting integrated into solar systems. What are companies doing to secure data and, enhance cyber security? And what are the existing potential rules that should govern data use in the solar sector?
Sure. I think I covered a bit of that, Saurabh. So
Yeah.
what is important and what a lot of organizations are doing, and when I speak to a lot of CISOs and CIOs, and even when I interact with a lot of government bodies, especially in the energy sector, also, one key thing which we in the energy sectors are working is trying to build a lot of standards around the cyber security. I was interacting with one of the government person who was an ex CISO, and we thought of building our own standards because we've been following a lot of niche standards and other thing. But and as you rightly mentioned, the way the integration is happening, the whole piece of AI, IoT, and ML has brought that one platform for people to see things. And the key thing which is going to bring a sea of change is especially on the DPDP, which is coming across the act. I think a lot of organizations are preparing for those things, for ensuring that they are getting repaired. But what is important is that the technologically front is ensuring that people use the right advanced encryption, the right access control mechanism, having a secure communication protocols between the units where it is there, ensuring that regular audits are being carried out, because as the technology advancements happens, these things are ever evolving. Okay. And data anonymization, ensuring that we collate all the data, build the right data lakes and all these things. So this is where a lot of organizations are being. But one should not even forget that building the security and awareness amongst all the people on the different technologies which are coming in and how they are being leveraged into the operations team, and ensuring that people know that technologies and what are the risks associated with that one.
Definitely. I mean, as we, yeah, while efficiency, manufacturing, and all those are very critical when it comes to implementation, this is security, especially as more and more we move to IoTs and all, it becomes very critical. Thank you, everyone. We've just finished 1 hour of discussion, which was the time commitment we have taken from you. So we'll thank you. My key takeaways have been that. Yes, India is looking for localization. There is a huge demand, but we need to develop our own supply chain capabilities, and which I believe with the likes of LONGi and others who are there, we can probably develop that capability to fulfill our needs, to get to the ambitious targets that we have set for ourselves, and as a country that we have, as the renewable champion of the world that we want to be. Uh, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Arul, Atul, Shao, Vivek, Vimal, Shabir, for joining us today. It was great to have you, and I hope to meet you all again in one of the other forums. Thank you, everyone.